Well, if the ring is the thing, then the Dodgers have done a damn thing. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the back-to-back World Series champions. Dodgers latest here on a Monday, a parade Monday. What a weekend. The Dodgers cemented their legacy in the game, winning Game 6 and Game 7 on the road in Toronto. Only the ninth team in the history of the game to win two road games, Game 6 and 7 on the road, and win the World Series. Yeah, Dodgers joined the 19 Nats as the last team to do it. The 16 Cubs also did it. And the 25 Dodgers win Game 6 and 7 on the road in the World Series, turn it around and beat the Blue Jays and are world's champions again. Back-to-back champions for the Dodgers, and of course they're the first team since the Yankees, who did it 3 times in a row, 98 through 2000. So the Dodgers are now immortalized themselves there, and of course they match the Big Red Machine of the 75 and 76 days as the last National League team to do it. But yeah, no, I think it's all said and done. The Dodgers are on the Mount Rushmore of one of the great teams of all time, and you can hit me up right there on Instagram and on X at JRodShow. Of course, love your comments. You've been great all year long, subscribing, sending messages. We've been reading them. We respond to them. Of course, hit that thumbs up button, share, subscribe, tell your friends, as the Dodgers going to have a little parade in Los Angeles today to celebrate a championship. And let's break it down. And I think it's now fair to use the word dynasty. I mean, when you look at what this team has done, 13 straight postseason appearances, right? 12 of those as NL West champions. 5 times they've been to the World Series in the last 9 years. And now they have won the World Series 3 times in the last 6 years, including back-to-back championships. There is no doubt. There is no doubt this team is a dynasty. They have cemented their legacy there. And I think it's crazy because, I mean, for those who remember the Frank McCourt days, right? And I'm fully invested in those Frank McCourt days. And I think it's hysterical that Frank McCourt still is a part of the organization, in that when he sold the team to Mark Walter and the Guggenheim Group, well, Frank McCourt still owns the parking lots at Dodger Stadium. So he still makes some money when we park our cars there. But, I mean, I remember trying to win championships with Vicente Padilla, you know, and you're like, okay, sure, you know, he's starting elimination games for you. But the Dodgers have come a long way since then. And this is for those lean years, right? This is for the Paul LaDucas out there and the Russell Martins out there trying to win a championship, even for the Adrian Beltres out there, you know, trying to win a title when you were unmanned, you weren't prepared, and this team has exceeded expectations, and they've done it, I think, in a way that, you know, I was on a radio show last night, and they asked me, oh, well, you know, the Dodgers bought a championship. I don't think they bought a championship. I think they invested in a championship. I mean, listen, I get it. They spent a boatload of money, but everyone else can spend a boatload of money. It's not like the Dodgers are the only ones that are allowed to do it, and we've talked about it here. They've already made the money that they've invested in Shohei Ohtani, that $700 million contract. They've already made it back with merch and tickets and marketing and sponsorship deals. Other teams can do it. Now, they choose not to. Cool. That's on you. You know what? Great. But the Dodgers choose to spend a lot of money, reinvest it, win championships, because at the end of the day, their business model is, let's win a championship. That's going to get more money. That's going to open up more markets. You know, look at what they've done, the pipeline they have to Japan now. And yeah, there may be another one coming. And we'll get into that when we talk about free agencies and what's next for the Dodgers. But for right now, you got to give an applause to ownership, applause to, you know, Andrew Friedman, Brandon Gomes, his staff, Dave Roberts managing the team from the dugout, his staff, and ultimately the players who came through and did their thing to secure a dynasty. 3 titles in 6 years, 5 World Series appearances in 9, 12 NL West titles, and 13 straight plate appearances. Yes, sir. All right, so one of the things that I think will always be talked about is that 9th inning of Game 7. And it was 2 players who, you know, for all the big money that they've invested, it's the guys probably toward the bottom of the salary, both Miguel Rojas and Andy Pages. who basically saved the Dodgers season in that ninth inning. It starts with Rojas, who came up. Dodgers were 2 outs away from being eliminated. Season was over. Dodgers were down 4-3 in the ninth inning, 1 out, bases empty. Jeff Hoffman trying to be a hero and close out the season. And he gave up a home run to Miguel Rojas. I mean, he hadn't hit a home run in months, right? But that is what experience does. And I think that's the difference, because when you look at what the Dodgers did, okay, they ended up with a batting average in this World Series of 203. That's one of the lowest batting averages in almost 60 years. The 66 Orioles, who swept the Dodgers in the World Series, had a lower batting average. The Blue Jays set a postseason record with runs scored in the entire postseason. You know, Ernie Clement, the guy who ended up hitting that now famous fly ball that Pajes caught, he set a record for most hits in a postseason. This team scored runs, but when the Dodgers scored runs, they were in key moments, they got key hits, and were able to do it. And they were able to do it in a way that it almost snuck up on you. And it's a guy like Miguel Rojas, and we've talked about it. Listen, the big-time players shine, the Shoheis, the Vladimir Guerreros, but it's also the Ernie Clements, it's also the Miguel Rojases who come out of nowhere. And for Rojas, who has always been the sort of clubhouse leader of this organization, you know, I mean, I've talked about, I think he'll probably be a manager someday. He might even be the next Dodger manager someday. Says he wants to play one more season in 2026. I don't know if it'll be with the Dodgers, but he wants to come back. But he has now forever cemented himself in Dodger lore. I mean, we're talking with the Rick Mondays and the Freddie Freemans and the Kirk Gibsons. You know, he is up there now. And one of the great Dodger home runs. To hit that home run in the ninth inning, you know, it seemed that the season was lost, tied the game up. And then, in the bottom of the ninth, the Blue Jays rallied against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And Dalton Varsho, with the infield up and a runner at third, hits a one-hopper down to Rojas at second base, who staggers, almost fell down, took a minute to get rid of the ball, throws to the plate, and they get IKF at home, who, yes, there's no doubt, Kiner Falefa did not get a good lead, didn't get a secondary lead, should have beat that out, and was in a whisker of getting the sliding in before the throw. It was a forced play at home plate. But Rojas coming in, again, both offensively and defensive. This is a guy that's at the end of his career. This is a guy that's there more as a clubhouse guy, to come in and be as big a contributor as anybody on the team. And then there's more. And then in the ninth, and then continuing in the ninth, Ernie Clement, the all-time Blue Jays leader in postseason hits, the all-time postseason leader in hits with 30, hits what looks to be a fly ball to deep left field. Kike Hernandez completely got turned around, had no shot at all at catching the ball. And you're thinking, well, there's the season. And it's Kike who kind of got a bad read on the ball. And here comes Andy Pajes from, it seemed, right center field to come in and make the catch. You kind of thought, man, this team is destined. This team is going to win it. And that ended the ninth inning. And, of course, the Dodgers would ended up getting a home run from Will Smith in the 11th inning to put him over the top. But that ninth inning, it will forever live in Dodger lore, both the top of the ninth with Rojas hitting the home run and those two defensive plays. And it just goes to show you, when you've been there, when you've done it, I think that's the difference between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. You know, they say, hey, Blue Jays were the better team, they did this. They might have, and on numbers and on paper, maybe they were. But they hadn't been there. They actually hadn't done it. While the Dodgers were strewn with guys that have won championships, have been part of a winning culture. Remember, the Blue Jays finished last year. This is a great experience. Don Schneider says it raised the bar for them, and I think it did. But it's the teams who have been there that ultimately come out on top in this. And coming out on top is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Wins the MVP of the World Series. Look at that. 3-0, 1.02 ERA. Won Game 2, a complete game, when he retired at one point 20 straight batters. Won Game 6, 96 pitches, six innings, and now maybe that explains why Dave Roberts took him out after 6 innings. Because you think, hey, you know, he's dealing 1 run, 6 strikeouts, 5 hits, 6 innings, 96 pitches, because he had him in mind for Game 7. And then literally Yamamoto comes back the next day in Game 7, wins Game 6, comes back in Game 7, 0 days rest, throws 34 more pitches. So he threw 130 pitches over 2 days, goes 2 2/3, no runs, 1 hit, ends up getting the win, his third of the World Series, and ends up winning the MVP. I mean, unbelievable what he did. 17 2/3 innings, gave up 2 runs. 2 runs in 17 2/3 innings. Ends up 3-0 with an ERA of 1 in the World Series. And, he was the guy, remember, who volunteered. Hey, I'll go out there and pitch. Was in the bullpen during that 18-inning game in Game 3. He was going to come in. He has been the unquestioned ace of this team from day one. He's the one that's really stayed healthy between Glasnow and Snell and Sasaki. He's the one that stayed healthy the whole season, and he showed it, proved it, looked like an ace, probably going to finish in the top 3 in Cy Young. And to go out there, I mean, it was Madison Bumgarner-esque. It was Randy Johnson-esque. The comparables is to Randy Johnson, what he did in the 2001 World Series. Very similar, complete game in Game 2, started in 1 Game 6, and came in relief multiple innings in Game 7. Well, that's what Yoshinobu Yamamoto did. Absolute warhorse, absolute stones, onions. My man did it. And well-deserved. Although he needed a little help picking up that MVP trophy, right? It's crazy, right? Like, hey, can I get some help? But Yoshinobu Yamamoto wins the MVP. And tell you what, $325 million, well spent. 2 years in the big leagues for Yamamoto, 2 championships, and now a World Series MVP. And just the guts to come in, make those pitches. And, and it made sense. Hey, there's no more saving guys. There's no, hey, he's got to pitch in 3 or 4 days. No, it's all gone. Season's over, and it's a victorious one as the Dodgers win again. And for Dave Roberts, what's his place in history? Well, he's now 3rd all-time in postseason wins. He's got 69 wins in the postseason. He's 2 behind Tony La Russa and 15 behind the all-time winner in Joe Torre. Another deep playoff run, he could be the all-time winningest manager in the postseason. And yeah, I get it. Multiple rounds, sure, cool. Well, Torre and La Russa did it too in multiple rounds. But I've said it before, and you guys have killed me for it. I think there's going to be a statue at Dodger Stadium for Dave Roberts. That's 3 championships now. Walter Alston had 4. Now Dave Roberts has 3. Tommy Lasorda had 2. He may go down as the greatest Dodger manager. And I think for me, his evolution, right, of becoming a postseason manager, because his legacy up until 2020 was, I get into trouble, I'm going to bring Kershaw in relief. And then Kershaw would have a bad outing and, fire Dave Roberts. And it got really bad in 2019 when the Dodgers saw it get away against the Washington Nationals, who ended up winning the World Series that year. But then 2020 comes. Well, it was a shortened season, whatever. And then they had disappointments again in 21, losing in the league championship series, and probably the rock bottom was getting bounced and swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks in 23. And it seemed like it clicked for Dave Roberts. Less panic, less going with being stubborn. And trusting other guys. We only saw Clayton Kershaw pitch once in this World Series, by the way, and that was in that 18-inning game. He got 1 batter out. But the point is, Dave Roberts has evolved as a manager, and you could see it. And you could see him trusting guys, and you could see, maybe not as fast as we would like, especially with Michael Conforto during the regular season. But if you notice, Conforto wasn't on the postseason roster. Tanner Scott wasn't on the World Series roster. And I get it, he had surgery, and maybe it was an excuse. The point was, in that Game 7, did you notice who pitched in that game for the Dodgers? All starters. Not one bullpen guy stepped on that mound. It was Ohtani. It was Robleski. It was Sheehan. It was Glasnow. It was Snell. It was Yamamoto. All starters. Because at the end of the day, I think Dave Roberts has evolved enough to know these guys don't have it. These guys aren't that good, and I'm not gonna be stubborn about it. I'm going to go with my starters, especially in a game that could go, longer, and this game went into extra innings. But Dave Roberts' place in history, I'll tell you what, it may be blasphemy in an organization that had a Walter Alston who was the quiet leader and the bombastic awesomeness that was Tommy Lasorda. But Dave Roberts may go down as one of the great managers, if not the greatest manager in Dodger history, and certainly one of the great managers in postseason history. So where is this World Series? I got asked that question a lot. Greatest World Series ever? Recency bias is tough, but this anytime you get a 7-game World Series, that you start thinking about its greatness, right? I mean, we had 2 extra inning games, great pitching. I don't know if it's the greatest World Series game, greatest World Series. I mean, 2001 Diamondbacks Yankees was pretty awesome. It had 3 walk-offs. But it may be greatest Game 7 ever. I think Cubs Indians Game 7 in 2016, very similar to this game. Cubs had a big lead, let it get away, extra innings, home runs, hero moments. That had a rain delay in it. This 7th game, Blue Jays had a pretty big lead, 3-0. We had a bench clearing brawl. I mean, how great was that? I think, by the way, that's Andres Gimenez just trying to rally the troops. I don't think anybody expected or thought that he was trying to throw it. I think he was trying to get the Dodgers out of their game. But again, experience wins out on that. 9th inning comebacks, went into extra innings, plays at the plates, heroes, goats, if you will. I don't know, man. I mean, Game 7, 2016 may go down as the greatest Game 7. This is pretty close. This maybe over time, once the recency bias goes away, this may be one of the great Game 7s of all time. Maybe a 1B, maybe. But it all said and done, the Dodgers will have a parade Monday, today in Los Angeles, their 9th World Championship. And, man, they're stubborn, man. 8 of the 9 championships have been won on the road. Only the 63 title was won at Dodger Stadium. But 8 of the 9 championships on the road. And like I told my son after the title, anybody down for a three-peat? We'll get into free agency. We'll get into all that stuff later coming on. But let's enjoy the moment. Pop the champagne. Dodgers have done it. World champions. Let's enjoy the parade. Remember, hit me up right there, J-Rod Show, on X and on Instagram. Let's hit your comments. We'll read them all, though, this week. We're going to get into free agency. We're going to get in what's next, winter meetings, because it's not done yet. Dodgers latest isn't done yet. We'll have you all ready to go as we get ready for spring training and a possible three-peat from the now back-to-back World Series champion Dodgers. I'm Jim Rodriguez. It's always time for World Series champion Dodger baseball.